Most people are slaves, but not to chains or laws. They're slaves to their own minds, held captive by thoughts, fears, and emotions they've never tamed. The battlefield isn't out there. It's in here, in the mind. And if you don't master it, it will master you. Welcome to Stoic Mastery, the channel where we sharpen the blade of reason, wield the fire of ancient Stoic wisdom, and dive deep into the psychological depths that most people are too afraid to touch. If you're someone who's tired of being manipulated by your own emotions, or worse, by other people, then hit that subscribe button right now and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a moment of mastery. And hey, if this resonates with you so far, drop a comment with this empowering phrase: I am the master of my mind, not its prisoner. Let's flood the comments with that mindset. Section 1. The cage you live in, but can't see. Let's start with a harsh truth. Most people are not thinking. They're just reacting. They move through life like puppets, strings pulled not by others, but by their own unconscious programming. Someone disrespects them, they lash out. Someone praises them, they become addicted to validation. They feel fear, and immediately they freeze, procrastinate, or run. They're not in control of their emotions. Their emotions are in control of them. Now pause, take a deep breath, and understand this. You were trained to be this way, by society, by trauma, by repetition. But just because you were trained into chaos doesn't mean you can't retrain your mind for peace. The Stoics called this internal chaos the tyranny of passion, and unless you master it, it will turn your mind into a battlefield. They believed in the supreme power of reason, in developing the ability to observe thoughts rather than becoming them. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Now here's where dark psychology enters the room. Every great manipulator, whether in politics, relationships, or media, knows one simple fact. If you can control a person's emotions, you can control their entire reality. You don't need to lock someone in a cage if you can get inside their head. That's why emotional control isn't just about peace, it's about power. If you react without thinking, you're easy to manipulate. If you need validation, you're easy to bait. If you fear rejection, you're easy to control. So how do you break free? You start with observation. For the next 24 hours, become an observer of your own mind. When you feel anger, don't express it. Don't suppress it. Study it. When fear creeps in, don't run. Analyze it. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this? What belief triggered this reaction? Is this response rational or automatic? Because the moment you become aware of a thought, you are no longer enslaved by it. This is what the Stoics trained for: to be unshaken by chaos, to stand firm while others collapse, to become a master of their emotions, not their victim. And here's your first ritual for mastery. Say this out loud right now: I am the master of my mind, not its prisoner. Then scroll down and drop it in the comments. Let's make this the most powerful thread of mental warriors YouTube has ever seen. Because here's the truth. Inner peace isn't found in silence, it's found in strength. And strength comes from awareness. So start watching your mind, because the cage isn't made of steel, it's made of stories you've never questioned. Section 2. Weaponizing stillness, the power of controlled emotions. Let's clear something up right now. Stillness does not mean weakness. In fact, the calmest person in the room is usually the most dangerous. Why? Because stillness is a form of power. It's a signal to the world and to your own subconscious that you're in control. The Stoics trained for this daily. They knew that true strength didn't come from dominating others, but from refusing to be dominated by themselves. Seneca once said, "You may have to fight a battle more than once to win it, but to fight your own nature, that is the battle of a lifetime." Here's where dark psychology creeps in again. In this world, Most people don't respond. They react, and manipulators count on that. They poke you with passive aggression. They ghost you to create anxiety. They love bomb you, then withdraw, just to see how much control they have over your emotions. But the moment you remain still, when you don't flinch, don't rage, don't beg, that's when you flip the script. They lose control, and you gain it. Because here's the secret. When you control your emotions, you control the pace of the game. And when you control the pace of the game, you control the outcome. Now, let me give you a mental exercise that the Stoics practiced, called premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evil. They would visualize worst-case scenarios every morning, not to scare themselves, but to be ready, to train their nervous system to respond with calm instead of panic. So, here's what you do. Every morning this week, before checking your phone, take 2 minutes. Visualize something triggering happening. Someone yelling at you, a business deal failing, a relationship ending. Then calmly imagine how you'd respond. Not react, respond. With calm, with reason, with power. This mental drill conditions your mind for emotional immunity, because when you face the storm in your mind first, the world outside loses its grip on you. And remember, the predator doesn't roar. It watches, it waits, it calculates. That's what you become when you master stillness. Now pause this for a second. If you're serious about becoming emotionally untouchable, drop this in the comments. Stillness is my strategy. Power is my presence. Let's flood the feed with that mindset. Own it, live it, because when you stop chasing control over others, and instead gain control over yourself, you become the one no one can shake. So here's your mission. Let others scream. You stay silent. Let others chase. You remain grounded. Let others beg. You walk away, because the most powerful move is often the one you don't make. Section 3. The art of mental warfare. Outsmarting manipulators. Let me ask you something brutal. How many battles have you lost without even realizing you were in one? Not with fists, not with words, but in conversations where someone twisted your emotions, doubled back on your logic, or left you spinning in confusion, questioning your own perception. That's manipulation. And that's exactly what masters of psychological warfare count on. That you won't even know the fight has started until you've already lost. But you're not here to stay blind. You're here to evolve. The Stoics weren't just philosophers. They were warriors of the mind, trained not only to control themselves, but to understand the games people play. Because let's be real, the world is full of manipulators. They wear many masks, charmers, victims, gaslighters, even friends. And they have one thing in common. They thrive when you react. When you're emotional, you're predictable. When you're predictable, you're controllable. When you're controllable, you're a pawn. So here's the first law of mental warfare. He who angers you, conquers you. This is where Stoicism becomes your shield and dark psychology becomes your sword. The manipulator's toolbox. Let's expose the weapons. Guilt tripping. They frame everything to make you feel responsible. Gaslighting. They deny your reality to make you doubt your sanity. Triangulation. They bring in third parties to control or intimidate. Silent treatment. To provoke anxiety and force submission. Over-validation and withdrawal. Love bombing, then disappearing to keep you hooked. They don't raise their voice. They raise your confusion. They don't control your actions. They control your emotions. And that's even more dangerous. Now here's what the Stoics did, and what you will do. They built a fortress of stillness inside their minds. No matter how hard the outside world pushed, they didn't move. And that stillness, that unshakable presence, it terrifies manipulators, because they can't play a game when you refuse to play. The power of strategic calm. Next time someone tries to bait you through drama, sarcasm, guilt, or passive aggression, don't flinch. Don't defend yourself. Don't overshare. Don't even give them your energy. Instead, respond like a mirror, a cold, clear, calculated mirror. Try this. I see what you're doing. That's your perspective. I have mine. Interesting. Let me think about that. Or simply, silence. Silence is dominance in the psychological battlefield. It forces the manipulator to sit in their own energy, while you remain unaffected. That's the second law of mental warfare. Your energy is your currency. Don't spend it where there's no return. Here's a pro move. Use the grey rock method. Act boring, emotionless, unengaged. To a manipulator, that's like kryptonite. They'll either escalate or leave. Either way, you win. But we level up from grey rock to what I call the black mirror method. You don't just become boring, you become reflective. You force them to see their own tactics reflected back, without words, without war. That's the highest form of warfare, winning without fighting. Now, if this is hitting something deep, if you're starting to realize how many battles you fought silently, comment this right now. I see the game. I don't play. I win in silence. Let's fill the comments with warriors who've stepped out of the trap. Because the truth is, you don't win this game by being louder. You win it by becoming immune, by controlling your attention, by protecting your peace, by becoming unreadable, untouchable, undefeated. Section 4. Strategic detachment. Winning by walking away. What if I told you that your greatest power isn't in fighting harder, but in walking away faster? Detachment isn't weakness. It's not coldness. It's not about being numb to life. It's about choosing what deserves your energy and what doesn't. Here's the truth. Most people are addicted to their attachments, to toxic people, to fleeting emotions, to fake status, to drama that keeps them feeling alive, even though it's draining their soul. Stoicism teaches that peace comes not from having everything, but from needing very little. The fewer emotional chains you allow in your life, the freer and more dangerous you become. Epictetus said it clearly. We suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgment about them. Now let's talk about the dark psychology angle. Manipulators feed off your attachment. They sense your emotional investment like blood in the water. The more you care about being liked, the easier you are to guilt. The more you fear losing someone, the easier you are to control. So what happens when you remove that fear? What happens when you can walk away from anything or anyone with calm, with class, with no regret? Simple. You become unbreakable. The manipulator can't use fear of loss. The narcissist can't bait your ego. The world loses its grip on you because you've finally realized, I need nothing because I am everything I need. Let that sink in. Now, this doesn't mean you stop loving. It doesn't mean you don't care. It means you're not owned by what you love. That's the difference between attachment and connection. One is rooted in fear. The other is built on strength. Let's break it down with 3 rules of strategic detachment. 1. Your presence is a gift, not a given. Never chase anyone who takes your presence for granted. People respect what's scarce. When you're always available, you become invisible. But when you walk away quietly, you become unforgettable. 2. Silence is a boundary. You don't need to explain your detachment. You don't need to justify why you're pulling away. Silence is clarity, and if they can't feel the weight of your absence, they never truly valued your presence. 3. Never stay where you have to shrink. If a situation, a person, a job, or even a thought pattern forces you to shrink yourself, leave. The Stoics weren't passive, they were precise. They didn't waste time on what they couldn't control. They walked away with grace, with power, with their soul intact. You are not a doormat. You are a gatekeeper of your own peace. And walking away isn't failure. It's a strategy. So here's your challenge. Think of one thing in your life that drains your energy every time you engage with it. A toxic relationship, an old regret, a pointless argument. Now decide today, not tomorrow, to detach from it, not with hate, but with clarity. Because real power is walking away, not to hurt them, but to heal you. Comment below, I walk away with peace. I detach with power. Let's ignite this thread with mental warriors who choose themselves. Because inner peace isn't found in holding on. It's found in knowing when to let go. Section 5. Becoming unbreakable. Psychological immunity through pain. You want inner peace? You want a mind no one can shake? Then let me tell you a truth that most people run from. Peace is not found in comfort. It's forged in chaos. The Stoics knew this. They didn't chase pleasure. They didn't pray for an easy life. They trained their minds for hardship because they understood one thing. Suffering is the gym where the mind gets stronger. Pain, heartbreak, betrayal, loss. These aren't just random misfortunes, they're weights, and you either lift them or you let them crush you. The problem is most people resist pain. They try to numb it, avoid it, or run from it. But avoidance is weakness, and weakness invites chaos. If you want to become unbreakable, you must flip the script. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And instead ask, what is this pain trying to teach me? Because the moment you stop fearing pain, you become a weapon. Let me break down how Stoic pain alchemy works. 1. Pain creates perspective. When life smashes you in the face, it strips away illusions. Suddenly, fake friends disappear, ego dies, your mind clears, and you see what actually matters. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, misfortune nobly borne is good fortune. What did he mean? That suffering, when endured with discipline and awareness, becomes a gift. It cuts out the noise. It forces evolution. 2. Endurance builds immunity. Think of emotional pain like a vaccine. Small, intense doses of it, faced consciously, build resistance. Every heartbreak you endure without bitterness, every betrayal you process without revenge, every failure you turn into fuel. That's your psychological immune system forming. Next time, the same event won't break you. It won't even shake you. You don't become emotionless. You become resilient. 3. Suffering sharpens. Strategy. Pain teaches you to think, to slow down, to reflect. Every time you've been hurt by someone's manipulation, every time you've lost something you thought you needed, you gain data. And with that data, you form mental strategy. That's why you see quiet, calm people who've been through hell and walk like they've already seen the ending, because they have, and they survived it. Let me ask you right now, what if the pain you're going through is the training your future self demanded? What if the version of you 5 years from now is silently thanking you for the scars you're earning today? That's how real warriors think. They don't fear pain. They recruit it. Now do me a favor. If you've turned pain into power, even just once in your life, drop this in the comments right now. Pain is my mentor. Peace is my reward. Let the world see how many of us are no longer victims of our past, but masters of our minds. Because inner peace isn't soft. It's not yoga on a beach or motivational quotes in a notebook. It's built in silence, in solitude, in suffering. It's the moment you sit with your pain, without distraction, and whisper, I see you, and you will not break me. That's what makes you different. That's what makes you unstoppable. You're not just healing, you're becoming immune. Section 6. The discipline of daily mastery. Building your mental fortress. So far, you've learned how to see through manipulation, control emotion, detach strategically, and transform pain into power. Now let's talk about what separates those who understand these ideas from those who actually live them. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Mastery isn't a moment, It's a daily decision. Inner peace doesn't come from watching one video or reading one quote. It comes from training your mind like a soldier, every day, every moment, especially when no one's watching. The Stoics didn't wait for crisis to train. They trained for the crisis before it arrived. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, woke each day reminding himself, "Today, you will meet people who are rude, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, but none of it can disturb you unless you allow it." That's not just philosophy. That's preparation. That's discipline. Your mind is a fortress or a prison. Every day, you're either building a fortress of control or letting someone else build a prison of chaos in your head. And the bricks? They're in your hands. The thoughts you allow, the media you consume, the emotions you feed, the conversations you engage in, the habits you repeat. Every single choice is either making you stronger or making you soft. So here's how to build your mental fortress brick by brick. 1. Morning intent. Set the tone or be tuned. Start each day like a general entering battle. Take 5-10 minutes to remind yourself of this. I control my responses. Nothing controls me. Visualize the potential chaos, annoying people, bad news, delays, and prepare your inner reaction in advance. You don't wait for the fire to learn how to breathe smoke. You train your lungs daily. 2. Night reflection, daily autopsy of the mind. Before bed, ask yourself, what did I allow to disturb me today? Where did I respond with wisdom? Where did I fall short? No guilt, no drama, just analysis. This is how you catch emotional leaks before they flood your life. Remember what Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Tracking your emotional triggers makes you immune to them over time. 3. Habit of hardening. Discomfort is your gym. Each day, do one thing that hardens your mind. Cold shower. Fast for 12 hours. Hold silence in an awkward moment. Turn off your phone and sit in stillness. Refuse to explain yourself when accused. Each act of voluntary discomfort is a rep in your mental gym. Each time you choose control over comfort, you sharpen your edge. Let's be real. Most people are mentally soft. They flinch at offense, run from boredom, panic at rejection, chase validation. Not you, not anymore. You're here because you know the truth. Peace is not the absence of problems. Peace is the presence of unshakable discipline. So I want you to comment this right now. If you're stepping into this discipline, mastery is my baseline. Peace is my default. Let's build a digital army of people who don't just survive chaos, but command it. And if this message hit you deep, if you're serious about mastering your mind and dominating your inner world, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. This is Stoic Mastery. And here, we don't chase motivation. We train the mind, daily, relentlessly, silently. Your next level doesn't come from feeling inspired. It comes from becoming disciplined. Now go build that fortress. One thought, one action, one day at a time. You are the master. Never forget it. Bonus Section 7. Legacy Thinking. Live today, like you've already died. Here's the final truth you need to hear. One day, your name will be spoken for the last time, and everything you stressed about, every opinion you feared, every ego-driven reaction you fed, none of it will matter. Only one question remains. Did you master yourself, or were you mastered? The Stoics lived with memento mori. Remember you must die, not to be morbid, but to be laser-focused. When you live with death on your shoulder, the frivolous fades. You stop wasting time on arguments that don't matter. You stop chasing people who drain you. You stop seeking validation from people who don't even know who they are. You start thinking in legacy. And legacy doesn't mean fame. It means impact, character, discipline, peace. It means your life becomes a signal, not noise, a blueprint, not a reaction. So here's how you develop legacy thinking. 1. Ask, what would the strongest version of me do? In every decision, big or small, pause and ask, what would the most disciplined, clear-minded, powerful version of me choose right now? Not what feels good, not what's easy, but what adds to your legacy, because most people choose comfort. Warriors choose consequence. 2. Speak less, move more. The world is loud. The powerful are silent. You don't need to announce your moves. You don't need to convince anyone. Your presence should speak for you. Let your calm intimidate. Let your growth confuse. Let your consistency win. As the old proverb says, tigers don't lose sleep over the opinions of sheep. 3. Leave a mind print, not just a footprint. Your legacy isn't what you leave behind physically. It's how you made people think differently. It's who you became when no one was watching. It's the discipline, the depth, the silence, the strength. That's what lasts. When you master your mind, others can't help but feel it. Your presence becomes permission for others to rise. That is legacy. So I challenge you. Live like your name has weight. Live like your story will outlive your flesh. And if you're ready to be a legend in your own life, not just a participant in someone else's, comment below right now. I move with purpose. I live with legacy. Let's flood this with people who don't just want peace. They want to embody it. And if this final piece locked in something deep inside you, hit that like, subscribe, and turn on notifications right now. Because this is Stoic Mastery, where warriors of the mind are trained, forged, and unleashed. We're not here for hype. We're here for transformation. Now go build your legacy in silence, and let the world feel the storm you mastered. Peace isn't your goal. Peace is your proof.